Friends can tell each other anything, right? Maybe not. There are topics that even best friends have a hard time talking about.
Therapist Julie Hanks is here with a list of things your best friend won't tell you and some advice on how best friends can tackle those touchy subjects. I love this topic. As someone who has two super close girlfriends that I talk to every day and sisters, you start to run through this list and you realize, A, are they not telling me something, or B, how would I approach this with them if the tables were turned?
I know. It's tricky, and we feel so responsible for other people's feelings as women, and so there's that, oh, I don't want to hurt feelings, and we need our girlfriends, don't we? We'll leave you out of this conversation.
But sometimes girlfriends have a whole different relationship even than spouses do.
Well, entirely. Yeah, you need spouses, but you also need girlfriends that get the female stuff. And so you don't want to jeopardize that. So these touchy topics are often really, really hard. Do I talk about it? Do I not? And how do I bring it up?
We're going to bring up some of those today. Julie reached out on Facebook, and she got some responses from local women who need some help with real-life situations. And we have changed their names, so don't worry about that.
Can you imagine? Yeah. The phone's ringing. Was that you? You didn't want to tell me what?
The first scenario, this is from Jenna, and she writes in, I have a friend whose son showed some signs of Asperger's syndrome. I know because I have a child with mild autism. Should I bring up my concern to her?
That is hard.
It is hard. Women are so protective of our kids. It's our flesh and blood. We've poured everything into this child, but the answer is yes. And my tip for that is make some tentative observations. So, you know, I've noticed where your son has a really difficult time with transitions, or I've noticed that he tends to play by himself. Have you considered this? So you're not going to just come straight, you know, hey, I think this, and your kids have some serious problems, right? They'll be defensive. So make tentative observations.
Seeing as that's kind of a backdoor approach, a little bit, it's softer.
Yeah.
Do you hold a separate conversation about this topic, or do you try to weave it into an existing conversation to make it more natural?
You know, I think either way. I mean, if there's a serious problem, then I would address it as soon as possible.
But couch the whole thing just in terms of your observation, so you're not just broaching the subject and running like a bull in a china shop.
Right. I've noticed.
Yeah.
I'm curious about this. Have you ever considered, so you're going to use a soft, kind of tentative approach.
Okay, I like that. Next, Tiffany's situation. It could resonate with viewers who may not like their best friend's spouse. Tiffany said, I love my best friend, but I can't stand her husband. In her words, he's an egotistical jerk who often puts her down in a joking way. I want to tell her how I feel, but I don't want to hurt our friendship. What's your advice for Tiffany?
Isn't that tough? So my advice is stay on your side of the court. And what I mean by that is you're not going to jump over and whack her on the head and say, you married a total jerk. But what staying on her side of the court means is expressing what it's like to be her watching them. Gosh, when I see you guys, when I see him talk like that to you, I feel really sad for you. I think you deserve to be treated better. So you're going to talk about your experience watching that interaction.
And isn't that something you almost have to wait for her to bring up to you? I'm unhappy, or I'm concerned about her own relationship, or is that something you can approach?
I mean, if he's being very, you know, emotionally abusive, I wouldn't wait. I would just say, look, I'm concerned. This is what I'm seeing. This is how I feel when you guys are together. It's really uncomfortable for me. I feel scared for you. I feel sad. I love you. So it's tough. It's tough.
And as you say that, you're giving them the support that they want from a friend. I love you. I'm thinking about you in this. And then they're maybe a little open to hearing the next part of the conversation, which is the awkward part.
Right, right.
Okay. Another common scenario comes from Shannon, and Shannon writes in, she says, I have a close friend who never calls me. We have a delightful time together, but I'm hurt that I always have to call to get together. I don't know how to bring it up. So lots of people might feel like, Shannon, how does she bring something like this up?
Yeah, so I would just ask a question. So, you know, you're going to make the tentative observation and then ask a question. So, hey, it seems like I call you more than you call me. What's your take on that? What do you see? Why is that? So you're just going to ask a question. It's funny because I have this situation with one of my dear, dear friends, and we were joking about it at the pool. We talk about it. And I'm like, okay, it's your turn to call because you never call me. And the fact that we can talk about it it makes it okay. I mean, I love her enough to extend myself more than she extends herself to me because she means that much to me. But just bring it up. Ask the question, hey, what's that about? And she may say, I'm really overwhelmed, or at this stage in my life, I'm doing the best I can. So,
and that's a good way that doesn't, I think, apply pressure. Just by asking questions. It doesn't apply pressure.
right.
Or you're not begging for a call.
Or it doesn't assume that it means she doesn't care about you.
Right.
And, you know, you're getting old drama. No, you don't need to do that.
Next, a comment from Courtney about a situation with a close friend. Courtney says she is constantly asking me for advice, but she doesn't listen. So I don't know why I bother giving her advice in the first place. What do you do here?
You're going to toss it back to her. What do you think you should do?
That's such a psychotherapist reaction, isn't it?
I know. It's a total therapist thing, right? But what do you think you should do? Because if you know you're just going to be wasting your time trying to solve her problem and she's not going to take it anyway, just go, gosh, I don't know, what do you think? And a lot of times they'll come up with their own solution, which is really what they're going to end up doing anyway. So don't waste your breath.
I think this has been used on me a time or two. Just realizing.
I see some of your friends in therapy. No, I'm just kidding.
They learned that line. They learned it well. No, that's a good one.
One more example we've got to get to. This is a question from Jill. She has a hard time talking about the struggles of marriage with her best friend. And Jill writes in, she says, I felt like my friend always looked at me like, why did you marry him in the first place? Don't we all have a few hard times in marriage? Where do you go there?
So I think it's really important when you're talking about deep, deep pain to go where it feels safe. So not all friends are equipped to deal with your deeper emotional pain, and that's okay. You know, you can have some good friends that are good to go out, you know, play at the park with the kids, and then there are some where you know you can take anything and they'll be there, they'll empathize, and they'll be there for you. And so, you know, go where it feels safe when you're talking about really serious life problems.
And what's a way to gauge safety? I mean, if you know that you're kind of poking the stick in the fire and you're getting nervous about the situation, how do you know if you are creating that safe space to discuss it?
Well, a great thing to do is actually let your friend know what you need from her. Hey, I'm having a hard time. I really need you to sit here and listen and empathize. Can you do that for me? We're not really good at asking for exactly what we need. And she may say, you know what, I'm too overwhelmed, I can't do that. Or she may say, sure, I'm here for you, call me anytime. And so being really explicit about what you're looking for is really important. And if this is your best friend, you know, more often than not, they'll be there for you.
5 great examples and 5 good solutions so that it actually could strengthen that friendship instead of putting a strain on it, I think we fear about. Thanks, Julie.
Great advice. Thank you. All right.